How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's such an honor to be joined by, the one and only LeRoy Irvin. So, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on, taking your time out of your day to help me out. So,
My pleasure.
are you still native to the LA area? Do you still live out there?
I live in, I'll show you where I live. Hold on one second.
Okay, no worries.
I live
Please
in
do.
Roseville Beach, Mexico. I live
Oh, you
on
live
the
in
safe
Mexico?
side of the Trump wall. So I live right here, Roseville Beach, Mexico. You guys can
Wow.
see it out there. The waves right there. You
Wow.
know, that's where I live now. So yeah, I do live in Orange County, but very rarely.
That is
Only
gorgeous,
when
my
I have,
friend.
only when I
That is
have to.
that is absolutely gorgeous out there. So, why do you head up to Orange County? Do you have business up there?
Well, I have a hip replacement surgery on Tuesday, so I'll
Okay.
be up there for that. But normally, I just go up there to play in golf tournaments, do charity events and things like that. Hang out
Nice.
with my friends.
Nice.
And that's
I'll be praying for you for your surgery. I hope it goes well. I hope
yeah.
everything is successful. So,
Thank you
um,
very much.
anyway, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you're a busy guy, so if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and get started.
Go ahead, do your thing.
Thank you so much. My first question to you is just it could be at any level, high school, college, or the NFL. If you could go back and change one thing about your playing career, what do you think it would be, if anything?
Well, I think what I would change the most is that I would never drink alcohol. I would never, as a young kid out there, stay away from alcohol and drugs and stuff, and you have a lot better career in the long run. But I wouldn't really change anything football wise. I really worked hard all the time, and I was a great teammate, leader, and dedicated myself to the game. But if I just would change anything, I wouldn't drink. I don't drink now, so I wouldn't drink then.
Yeah, and I've talked to so many people, and they've all given me a very similar answers. Like I worked hard on the field, and I was a great player, great teammate, great leader. But my habits off the field are sometimes is what would get in my way. So it's interesting to hear you say that. And obviously, it's evident that you worked hard on the field because you enjoyed such great success. And I love what you said about being a great teammate because to me, it's like football is the ultimate team sport. And even as someone who plays basketball, I think football can be even more of a team sport because you can have all the talent in the world, right? But it doesn't matter unless you're everyone's doing their job and fulfilling their purpose and doing their role as a teammate. And
Yes.
so it takes everyone. If one guy blows coverage, right, the whole thing's screwed over, right? So it takes
Right.
literally everyone. That's what's important about being a great teammate. So I love how you said that. Um, my next question was obviously you enjoyed great success in the NFL from being a two-time Pro Bowler to four-time All-Pro, setting the record for most punt return yards in a single game with 207. That is absolutely crazy. But what do you think is your greatest accomplishment, both on the field and off the field?
You know, uh, God. My relationship with God, the Christ. When I was 3 years old, I couldn't walk. You know,
Wow.
I had to wear braces from when I was 2 to when I was 4. I had to wear braces on my legs. And I always prayed every day that God would allow me to play pro football, and if He did, allow me to play 10 years. I prayed it every day since I was like 6 years old. Every day. All of a sudden, the braces came off at 5 or 4, and I would go outside and I was trying to run, and play sports with the other kids, and they laugh at me. And I always tell them I'm gonna play pro football. They laugh at me, and then I ended up playing 11 years in the NFL. And now those same kids say, "Wow, LeRoy, I can't believe it. It's amazing, man. Remember when you couldn't even walk?" So that was my greatest accomplishment is being able to overcome my disability.
Yeah, and is that something like when you're invited to speak at events, is that something that you really focus on is like an inspirational story to tell people when you give back to the community?
Yes, because the thing about it is, there's a million ways to make money. You got to pick one of them and become real good at it. And the thing about becoming real good means you got to work at it and dedicate yourself to it. You got to ask God. I believe in Jesus Christ. I'm a Christian. I believe in God. Okay, I look at the stars out there. There's there's 5 billion galaxies, and there's 7 trillion planets. I mean, come on. Who built that? Nobody in my neighborhood did. I
Right.
don't know that built them stars out there. So it got to be somebody greater than me. So I believe in that. And I believe if you ask him and you pray and you really believe it and you work towards it, that your dreams can come true.
And so, I'm a believer in Christ as well. And it's just, I have the same view of it. It's like the reason I became a Christian is because I researched so many different religions and I asked all these questions. And I just came to the conclusion, like, hold on a minute. The fact that like all these things had to stack up for me to be here and live an inhabitable life on Earth, like
Yeah.
there's no way that that's just a coincidence. Like that's just not possible. And so, Christianity just made the most sense to me. And ever since I've been happy to say that I've dedicated my life to Jesus. And it's one of the most special things that a person, it is the most special thing a person can do. Um,
The thing is, Moses said, "Who should I ask? Who should I tell them that sent me?" And he said, "I am that I am." When you look at that ocean out there, you look at the stars and the moon and all that kind of stuff, and the trees growing. It's mind-boggling. But anyway, back to football.
yeah, it's God's beauty, everything on earth. So like, I love how you told me like you were praying to God every single day that you'd be healed and be able to play sports. But what age did you really come to know God, and what age did you really want to know that you wanted to play professional football?
Well, I saw Joe Namath on the Jets one day walking down Broadway with a mink coat on and two pretty fine girls walking next to him. And I said, "Wait a minute, that might be the sport I want to play," because I couldn't get a girl in my life back then. Being black, being in the South. I couldn't get a girl to save my life. So that was the inspiration. And then I fell in love with O.J. Simpson, and the rest is just history. So those are two of my most inspirational guys, along with Leroy Kelly, because he had my name Leroy. And I just started, working out and training. I have some guys that really helped me out, like my partner John Krieger. You know, he was my best friend. He bring me over to his house and work out with me every day. And so I've had a lot of people help me get there. That wasn't me. Coach Wiggins from Kansas, from high school, Coach Olive from high school. A lot of people helped me get here. I just didn't get here by myself.
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned that because you mentioned Joe Namath and OJ, a quarterback and a running back. So what was your inspiration to play corner?
Well, because I in high school I played. I started out in junior high playing guard and linebacker. Okay,
Okay,
got to high school, they moved me to tackle. And I was like 165. And I told the coach I was the fastest kid in the city. You ain't playing tackle. I'm not gonna play football anymore. So Coach Olive, who ended up getting me the scholarship to go to Kansas, another story. But he moved me to running back. I was the third, fourth string running back. I played running back, and I want to be like OJ. I wore 32, and then pretty soon, my sophomore year, I got in some games. I did really well. Then I started the rest of the season as a sophomore. Then I started as a junior, and I started as a senior. I was the third fastest kid in the state of Georgia,
wow.
but no schools recruited me. No schools recruited me. So my coach Olive, Coach Olive runs the scoreboards at Augusta National, so he's an honest man. So he told Kansas that everybody in the South was trying to recruit me, which they weren't, and so Kansas gave me a scholarship. But like I said, I had a lot of help getting to where I got because of people that really helped me get there. So yeah, it's not all me.
Yeah, and that's the other thing with our faith is like God puts these people in your life for a reason. Like it's not a coincidence that I meet all these people who have such a profound impact on my life and help me in my career. And it's crazy, it's just all these things that happen in a specific order for His purpose is wonderful.
And
Um,
the thing, so when I got to Kansas, there were so many running backs, so they moved me to corner, and they said, "Hey, do you mind returning?" So I asked them, "Can I return punts? Because that way I can run with the football,
right,
again, be a
right.
running back." So I was the cornerback in Kansas my first year, doing punt returns, and I moved to safety. And then when I got to the pros, they drafted me as a corner.
So so when you so did they move you to corner for a reason other than your speed? Did had you played corner before in practice?
I've never played corner before in my life, but I asked the coach. I said, "There's only three corners on our team, or four
Right.
corners team on defense, but there's like eight running backs. We ran the wishbone like nine running backs." I said, "Hey, Coach Van Zant, Lance Van Zant, rest in peace." He said, "Okay, I'm gonna move you to corner." So he moved me to corner, and I started as a freshman.
Wow, that is a crazy story. That all these twists and turns you find, and then eventually you just find yourself in the right spot. So funny how
Right,
that tends to work out, right?
right,
Um,
right.
my next question was: we talked about your college days, your high school days, the recruiting stages of your career. My question based on that, just to follow up there, is how did the experience of playing in the NFL differ from the other levels of competition you experienced?
Well, everybody's good. In high school, you get what you get. You know what I mean? The guys just happen to live in the neighborhood and they're on the team. They have the same drive and goals as college players or pro players, but the level is they just happen to be on the team. Whereas in college, they actually recruit you to be on the team. So in college, you're one of the best, but you're one of the best out of like 10,000
Yeah,
athletes. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Well, in the NFL, it's like the best of the best. So as you move up the ladder and you prove yourself and you get opportunities, when you get to the pros, they only drafted back then it was 14 rounds, 30 teams. So you figure, 300 players got drafted.
right.
300 players, they said only 7 of them were going to play 10 years. Out
Wow.
of 300 players, that got drafted, only 7 were going to play 10 years. That was true. Me and a few other guys. But the average life is 3.2 years. So it's not a long career.
No, that's crazy, especially because that average is 3.2 years, but you got to consider most people don't even reach that average, right? So that makes
Right.
being those 10 years all the more impressive. And
Right.
and to kind of follow up on what you said, in college when you had started playing cornerback, did you actually at the end of your career find your college days starting as a cornerback to be harder than the NFL because by the time you got there you were used to playing corner, or was the NFL just ridiculously harder?
Well, here's the thing. I played corner in college for 1 year. Then they moved me to safety, free safety. When I left KU, I'm watching the game now. When I left KU, I was the leading tackler in school's history at safety.
Wow.
So I
Wow.
only played one. I only played 7 games. I only started 7 games at corner in college. But when I got to the pros, I became a corner, and I started like 2 games as a fresh as a rookie in the pros. So yeah, it was a lot different. I never really played corner before, never understood it, but I had 2 great teachers. Well, 3 great teachers. I had Rod Perry, Pat Thomas, Monty Jackson, and the great Bud Carson was our defensive coordinator. So I learned a lot from those guys, and I was able to, Sid Justin, Dwayne Osteen, rest in peace. They all helped me learn the position, and the rest is history.
And was moving back to corner in the NFL your choice, or was it something the Rams said to you, "Hey, we got to move you back to corner. Do you want to play free safety?" Was it your choice?
No, the Rams, they drafted me as a corner.
Oh,
So
okay.
they drafted Johnny Johnson, an All American out of Texas, as the safety. So the safeties were Johnny Johnson, All American out of Texas, Nolan Cromwell, probably one of the greatest safeties ever played the game, Pat Thomas, Rod Perry on the corner, 2 All-Pros, and then Sid Justin and Dwayne Osteen coming in, me, Kirk Collins, and Lucius Smith coming in trying to take their jobs.
And so that kind of segues into my next question because you mentioned all these great people who helped you during your career. What were your favorite teammates and memories of playing in the NFL?
Wow, man, that's a tough question, man. I have had a lot. I have some really great teammates. Rod Perry, one of my best friends still. Lucius Smith, my partner Kirk Collins, who passed away, rest in peace. Pat Thomas. Vince Ferragamo. Jackie Slater. I mean, I have so many great teammates. When you're on a team and you spend a lot of time with these guys, they all become your friends. You know
Right.
their family, kids. You watch them grow up. We still do things together. So I mean, all the guys, Wendell Tyler, you name the guys, man. We still communicate with each other. So I've had a lot of great teammates. I would say Lucius Smith and Reggie Doss and Vince Ferragamo and Jackie Slater are probably my closest friends from those days.
And you guys still keep in touch. You still get together as much as possible. And
But Reggie's having some problems physically, and I still talk to Lucius every day, trying to keep it kind of with Reggie. I talk to Vince every once in a while. Jackie Slater, I used to train Jackie Slater's son, Matthew Slater,
oh, that's
who
awesome.
years for the Patriots, and I used to train him when he at 7 years old. I started training Matthew.
Wow.
7 years old. So yeah, we go way back.
And that's so cool. Like how sports, especially at the professional level, create these connections for years. I mean, the rest of your life. I mean, you're friends with these people because you spent every single day grinding it out with these guys.
Yeah,
Um,
and we
it's
have families too. So it's not like high school or college. We bring families with us.
right.
So if I don't make it, my family don't make it. You know what I mean? So you have a lot
Exactly.
of pressure on you in the pros.
Yeah, for sure. Um, and I have one more question for you if you got the time.
Sure, sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much. My question today is kind of interesting. It's what player today in the current league reminds you most of yourself?
Wow. Well, aren't there many corners that return punts these days?
No.
And aren't there many all pro corners that return punts? So I mean, I look back and I think like guys like Dion, because he was a great punt returner and he was a great corner. And I'm not saying I'm in the same class of Dion because he's the greatest corner ever to play the game. But in that mode, uh, teams I would score every 5 times they threw at me. So if you threw at me and I got an interception, chances are every 5 or 6 times I got an interception, I would score a touchdown. So I have like 5 or 6 touchdowns by interceptions. So I was a threat. You know, when you threw at me, if I got it, it's probably gonna go to the house or get close to the house.
Right.
And same thing with punt returns. You know, I get 207 yards, never be broken. And see, it's not about me on that 207 yards. It's about the guys who made the block for me. So I
Right.
don't look at my record. I look at it as our record because it's a team game, team sport. I happen to be the one carrying the torch. And everyone says LeRoy Irvin's record, LeRoy Irvin's record. But there are 11 other guys on that team. Joe Harris, Westbrook, Smith, Lucius, you know, Jimmy Collins, Kirk Collins. You know, there's a lot of guys, Harold Penaranda, Ivory Sully, a bunch of guys on that list that helped me get that record. So it's not my record.
And that's what's made you a great teammate, right? I mean, that's the kind of mindset that I wish everyone would have, especially some of the guys on my Broncos, because they are struggling.
Yeah, they
Um,
are. Yeah, you can't win them all.
no, no, you can't win
Yeah,
them all. But yeah, I wish we see more cornerbacks returning punts today. I think we saw one guy from the Titans a couple years ago, but it's so rare nowadays, right? I mean, is there a specific reason for that? Why corners return punts less now?
well, I think it's about skill, being a skilled guy. You know, I mean, if you don't return punts in college, you know, your chances are you're not going to return punts in the pros. You know,
Right.
so you know, if you're not a punt returner in college, I was like seventh or sixth in the nation in punt returns in college. And you know, so if you don't return punts in college, it's hard to get to the pros and start be a punt returner because it's a lot of guts to be a punt returner. You know,
Oh yeah.
you look at a guy at the ball and guys are coming down at you, and you get some vicious hits when you're a punt returner. So, I mean, if I'm making the money, you know, they don't pay punt returners that much money, but they pay corners a lot of money. So if I'm an all pro corner now in today's age, I'm making 20 million. If I'm a punt
Right.
returner,
Exactly.
I'm making about 1 or 2 million. So I'm not going to risk 20 million for 1 or 2 million. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm not going to return punts and play corner in this day and age because it may mess up my bottom line.
So my last question, just to kind of segue off that, was what was more fun and what was more difficult between punt and corner, punt return and corner? What did
Well,
you?
I think corner is way more difficult. I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
Let's say you're in San Francisco and you're staying at the Hilton, and you know tomorrow you're going up against Montana and Rice.
Yeah.
Okay, you go up against Montana and Rice. Then you go to Buffalo. You got you know Jim Kelly and Andre Reed. You got to go up against. Then you go into Dallas. You got Danny White and Drew Pearson and all those guys. Starbuck and Drew Pearson. Then you go to New Orleans. You got Wes Chandler. You got then you go to Miami. You got Marino and Duper and Clayton. You know what I mean? Come
Oh,
on, man.
absolutely, absolutely.
Then you go to Seattle. You got Zorn. You got Zorn and Largent. You got to deal with.
Good luck.
You know what I'm saying? Then you go to Philadelphia and you got 6'8" Carmichael. You got to cover.
Yeah, I'll leave guarding him to you guys. I think you guys stand a much better chance than I do.
Hey, but my message to young athletes. You know, you talk about the college athletes. Is that you go to college and you can want to play pro football. It's a great idea to play. You know, want to play pro football. You work your butt off to play pro football, but remember, this game ends. It ends. So your job is to go to college, get an education, play football, roll the dice where they may end up, but also think about your career after football. Think
Right.
about what you're going to do after the game is over. And don't think about that when the game is over. Think about before the game is over and start preparing for it before the game is over.
I actually read up on you that you started a business with one of your teammates, and was that part of your preparation to after the game was over?
Yes, yes. I've owned gas stations. Me and Eric Dickerson owned the NFL licensing company. I'm starting a charity right now to help underprivileged kids from
Wow,
Mexico get citizenships in the United States and being educated in the United States
that's
at the
wonderful.
orphanage here in Rosarita Beach. So, I'm just trying to give back to the community and help those who are less fortunate because that's what God put me here for.
Absolutely, that's so wonderful to hear, and it's always all the guys I talk to, it's so heartwarming to hear that when you guys are giving back like that and fulfilling God's purpose. So I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for this interview and helping me out, and also for what you're doing in the community. It makes a huge impact. So thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. It's been a true honor, true pleasure.
Anytime,
And
anytime.